and gentlemen, welcome back to Obsessive Compulsive Gaming. I am the Obsessive Compulsive Gamer, and this is my retrospective / review for Remember Me. So dear viewer, if you don't mind, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and like this video. So Remember Me originally released in 2013, a year I remember very fondly as the year some of my favorite video games of all time released, including The Last of Us, BioShock Infinite, DMC Devil May Cry, Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, Dead Space 3, and Batman Arkham Origins, which just so happens to be my favorite of the Batman Arkham games. Don't you dare argue with me, it totally is the best one. But we're not here to talk about Arkham Origins, we are here to talk about Remember Me. And you're probably wondering, dear viewer,
What? What is this?
I'm so glad you asked, Barry Bertrum, you beautiful bearded bastard you. Remember Me is an action-adventure game, and was in fact the first video game developed by Don't Nod Entertainment. You might recognize that name. Those are the talented bastards behind such video games as Life is Strange, Vampire, and Banisher's Ghosts of New Eden. But as far as I'm concerned, their greatest game that they ever made was in fact their first one. This one, the one we're talking about right now. Just in case you didn't get what I was referring to there. So for all of you commoners out there who've not played this game, let me just summarize the plot for you the only way I know how. Badly. So we play as Nilin, who is a memory hunter working for an underground resistance called the Errorists. Not terrorists, Errorists. My god, that's a lot of that might be a bit too much for this retrospective already. Haha. Anyway, basically, you have amnesia, so you go on a quest to try and stop some evil corporation that's changing people's memories, and hopefully in the process you'll recover your own memory and have a nice happy ending. Now a little interesting fact on the story for you, dear viewers, was this game was originally called Adrift, and the concept was basically that the world has been completely flooded from global warming, and your character can use jet skis to navigate around a coastal city. Though luckily, that was changed after the game was cancelled in 2011, before those bastards at Capcom came along and threw some money at Don't Nod and said, "Hey, come and make the game for us. We'll release it on multiple platforms like the PS3 and the Xbox 360. And Don't Nod said, "That sounds splendid. Here, Marvin, hold my beer." No, I don't know who Marvin is. So, gameplay. Now, Remember Me takes elements from a lot of my favorite games of all time. So it takes climbing sequences, action sequences, and platforming from the Uncharted series, and it does a bloody good job with that. It takes a melee combat system from the Batman Arkham games, which gets a massive thumbs up from me. Not only that, but this game introduces a system where you can remix people's memories by going into the memory and changing certain things. And in the process of changing certain things, a character might die, or you might save their life, or some other such nonsense. And the combat, which as I said was kind of, sort of, not really ripped off from the Batman Arkham games, introduces a system in which you can essentially create your own combos. And you can mix into these combos healing and cooldowns for some of your special abilities. So for example, you might throw a punch, then heal yourself, then activate a cooldown, then throw another punch, then maybe throw in another heal, and so on and so forth. I know I'm probably ballsing up the explanation of it, but if you want to know how it is, well, go and play the game for yourself. Which brings us rather nicely to my opinion of this particular video game. Now, when this released, fictional gaming websites like IGN gave it 5.7 out of 10. Well done, IGN, for once again proving why I don't look at your website. But as you all know, dear viewers, the only opinion round here that counts is mine. So what do I think of the game? Well, like I have already hinted, and the very fact I'm doing a retrospective on this game in the first place is obviously to show off my love for this game. Now, there's a full playthrough of the game on the channel which I highly recommend you go and watch, but better yet, why not just pick up the game for yourself and play it? Like I said, it's available on the PS3 and the Xbox 360. And if you don't have access to those consoles, well, emulate the damn thing, goddammit. This, like I said, takes elements from some of my favorite video games of all time. So it's got platforming, it's got climbing sequences, it's got more action than John Wick would find in one of his wet dreams. You get to beat up enemies, you get to create your own combos. It's set in a cyberpunk world, which, might I add, in 2013 looked sublime to me. And yes, sublime is a real word. Look it up. I didn't just make that word up because I somehow stumbled while trying to, train. See, I've just done it again. I invented another word. So we got supram and we've got dream. Two new words I have invented today. Now I've forgotten what the hell I was saying. Oh yes, cyberpunk world, which is absolutely superb. That's the word I was trying to say before. It has a very good story, and in fact there's a very nice plot twist at the end, which I won't spoil for you here, because after all I want you to go and play the bloody game. And like some other games I have talked about on the channel, like the Splatterhouse remake, Lollipop Chainsaw, Shadows of the Damned, Remember Me is 100% absolutely on my list of the most underrated and underappreciated video games of all time. So let's do something about that. Go and play the game. You'll love it. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, my little retrospective for Remember Me. If you enjoyed this little retrospective / review of mine, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. If you haven't enjoyed it, well then feel free to give me a thumbs down. But please remember the single most important thing I always tell you, dear viewer, and that is to always stay obsessed with gaming.
Are you still here? Oh, you must have really enjoyed this video then. In that case, you had better subscribe to the channel and check out our other content. Otherwise, you're a booby pants, and no one wants to be a booby pants.